All right, welcome to week 2 of the 2022 NFL season. We're going to be doing the same things last week. We're just going through each of the games and who I think is going to win, and I'm going to tell you why. So you can see last week I didn't do so hot. You know, week 1's always hard to guess on who's going to win. You really don't know the teams, the new additions, how they're going to mesh and all that stuff. So hopefully week 2 is definitely an improvement from last week. So without further ado, we're going to get right into it. So as you can see, on Thursday, which I think is probably going to be game of the week, we have the game between the Chargers and the Chiefs, division rivals. So this is really interesting. It's going to be on Prime Video. This is a really good game for sure. Like I said, probably going to definitely be game of the week. I could really see it going either way. Both teams played exceptionally last week, and in all honesty, I really could see it going either way, but I really think that what I saw on Sunday favors the Chiefs just a little bit more. It looks like they haven't lost a step. Mahomes is still Mahomes, and it's going to be in Kansas City, so Arrowhead's going to be loud. It's a primetime game. I do expect the Chiefs to win this, but I do think it's going to be close, and I think the Chargers they're going to give them a good fight. They played well last week against Las Vegas. But for this game, I am going to go with the Chiefs. Another good game, we're going to Sunday now between the Dolphins and the Ravens. Both of them won their games last week. So this is interesting. I really like this matchup. It's going to be a good test for both teams, I think. Looking at it on paper, I think, Miami, I think, has the better team, but the better team doesn't always win. I think I'm going to go with my gut on this one, and I'm going to go with the Ravens. I really liked what I saw last week. I know they were playing the Jets, but I'm still going to roll with them. I just trust Lamar. He played great last week, and he's still playing with the chip on his shoulder. He hasn't gotten that contract extension that he's waiting for yet, so I'm going to go with the Ravens for sure, especially because it's in Baltimore. Next game, Jets at the Browns. I'm not going to even talk about this one. Going with the Browns. They played pretty well last week up until the end, and the Jets are the Jets. So I'm not going to pick the Jets. I'm going with the Browns. Washington at Detroit. So this is interesting. I could really see this game going either way. Detroit played above my expectations last week, although I was wrong and they did not win the game. They gave Philly a hell of a fight last week, and really the Lions should have lost by a lot more than what the scoreboard showed. So I was really impressed, and with Washington, they got a pretty damn good team. They played pretty well on Sunday against Jacksonville. I picked against them, and they proved me wrong as well. So just looking at matchup-wise, I think, Detroit's going to win this. They're going to be at home, so the crowd's going to be loud like they were Sunday. And I think they can pull this one out. I'm going to go with the Lions. Two division rivals going at it here between the Colts and the Jaguars. Really didn't like what I saw from both teams last week. Jacksonville just had a lot of mistakes in the red zone, and Indy just could not hang on to the ball. A lot of turnovers. I guess if you put a gun to my head, I'm going to have to go with the Colts on this one, but I could definitely see Jacksonville running away with this game. But I'm going to go with the Colts for this game. All right, two division rivals going at it again for this next game. So this is interesting. This is the Buccaneers at the Saints. And I was talking last week how Miami always gives New England trouble. Even when Brady was there, they always give them trouble. And we're kind of seeing this now, Tom Brady being on his new team. This division rival, the Saints, has given them a lot of trouble since he's been here in Tampa. He has not beaten them in the regular season since he's joined the Buccaneers. He does have that playoff win against them, but the Saints just have the Buccaneers number. They just do. and they climbed back into that game against the Falcons last week and played pretty well. This might be an upset alert, but I'm going to go with the Saints on this one. They really always give the Buccaneers and Tom Brady a lot of trouble. I'm just going to go with my gut, and Tampa Bay, although they won, they didn't really impress me too much last week. Lenny had a pretty good game, and Tom Brady still looks like he's on point, but I'm going to go with the Saints on this one just because of the past history. So, Saints for this one. Next game we have is the Panthers at the Giants. This one was kind of a hard one to pick too because I really don't trust either of these teams, and I know the Giants won last week, but I really don't want to, buy all my Giants stock right now. I'm not doing it. It's 1 week. But, Carolina, on the other hand, they didn't impress me either. For this game, I'm going to go with the Giants. Saquon Barkley looked pretty good last week. Hopefully he bounces back. He looks like the Saquon of old. But I really like the Giants in this one. I don't really trust Baker yet, and Carolina didn't do much to impress me. So for this one, I'm going with the Giants. So this next game is a little interesting as well. New England at the Steelers. So I really want to pick New England for this, considering that Pittsburgh, they don't have TJ Watt going forward for, who knows. But he's not going to be in this game. It's going to be in Pittsburgh. Mike Tomlin's a hell of a coach, but Bill Belichick, the Patriots didn't impress me last week, and I didn't pick them for a reason. But for this game, I'm going to go out on a ledge, and I am going to pick the Patriots for this game just because the Steelers missing their best player, TJ Watt, I think it's going to really affect them, especially on the defensive side of the ball. I don't really know how much they can do on the offensive side. So I'm going to go with my gut, and I'm going to go with the Patriots on this one. But I could definitely see anybody picking the Steelers. I could definitely see, why. But New England for this one on me. Next game, the Falcons at the Rams. So the Falcons actually looked pretty good last week, other than, blowing that lead. But the Rams, they've gotten 10 days off to kind of bounce back from that ass whooping the Bills gave them on opening night. So this one's going to be in LA. I am going to go with the Rams on this one. I think just they have the better team. The Falcons, they're a young rebuilding team. And although they played well last week, I'm still going to go with the Rams. I think the Rams got to play with urgency here. You don't want to start the season 0-2. And if you do, you're in some serious trouble. So I'm going to go with the Rams on this game. And another division team's going at it for this next game. We have the Seahawks at the 49ers. So this was interesting. The Seahawks, after that Monday night win against the Broncos, they looked pretty good. And Geno started the game 13 for 13. He was on point. And on the 49ers side of it, I picked them last week. Obviously, they didn't win. Trey Lance didn't, impress me too much on, in his play. You can look at it a couple different ways. There was rain. It was terrible conditions to play football. But, Justin Fields played pretty good in those conditions, and the Bears played pretty good in those conditions. So, can't really make that excuse. I think I'm going to go with Seattle on this one. And in all honesty, I think that, after what I saw from them, I'm going to really trust my gut on this one, and I'm going to go with Seattle just because I really enjoyed how they played against the Broncos, and they played pretty damn well. Geno impressed me. The defense looked pretty decent, so I think that on that side of it, I'm going to go with the Seahawks. So, let's see who we got for this next game. Okay, this next game, I don't really need to talk about it. Dallas obviously losing Dak for a little bit. And the Bengals, they got to be pissed off, especially for how that game ended last week. They really should have came out with the dub on that one, even though how terrible they played, all the turnovers they had. But I'm going to go with Cincinnati on this one just because they don't have... Dallas doesn't have Dak, so that's why I'm going with the Bengals. So I trust the Bengals to bounce back on this one. So Bengals for this game. Let's see. Houston at Denver for this next game. So Denver, I think, has a little sense of urgency in this game. You don't want to start the season 0-2, especially like they could have definitely taken that game on Monday. They had 2 red zone opportunities that they failed on in that game. They could have won, but they didn't. So I think they have the same urgency as the 49ers. They definitely need to win this game, and you don't want to start the season 0-2. You got to come out with a win for this one. So for this one, I'm going to go with the Broncos just because they have that sense of urgency. And Houston, they almost choked that. I mean, they did choke that lead against the Colts. So I just don't really trust Houston. I trust Russ, even though he didn't come through for me on Monday. I'm going to go with the Broncos for this one. Let's see. The next game, we got Arizona Cardinals at the Las Vegas Raiders. So for this one, I don't think I want to talk about this one too much. I'm going to go with the Raiders. The Cardinals just didn't do anything to impress me. I really don't like their team this year. I just think that they've got a lot of work to do. So, you can look at it like, yeah, they were playing the Chiefs. So, I could see this game actually being close, but I'm going to go with the Raiders on this one. They'll be at home. That crowd's going to be loud, and this will be good for the Raiders. They also, I think, need to win this game. They don't want to start out 0-2, especially in that division. Next game we have the Bears at the Packers for the Sunday night game. So this will be interesting. We're going to see the oldest rivalry in the NFL. This is going to be, I think, a more interesting game than in years past. But I'm still going to go with the Packers on this one. Although Chicago did surprise me and they played well last week and Justin Fields made some big plays, I'm going to go with the Packers. They got to play with some, I know I'm saying this for a lot of teams and I know it's only week 2, but you got to start out, they're feeling that urgency, You don't want to start out 0-2. And we all know the memes from last year, Rodgers saying that he owns the Bears. And I think it's going to continue to show in this one. I think Green Bay will win this game, and Rodgers will still own the Bears. So now we're moving to the Monday night games. So this one we have the Tennessee Titans at the Buffalo Bills. I really don't think I need to talk about this one too much either. I'm going to go with Buffalo Bills just because, they have a better team. They had a great opening night game against the Rams. I think the Bills right now are the best team in football. So I think overall I am going to go with the Bills on this one. Tennessee, they really probably should have won that game last week. But I just really, again, I really just don't trust Tennessee anymore after last year. So for this one, I'm going to go with the Bills. And the final game of the week, we have the Minnesota Vikings at the Philadelphia Eagles. So this will be a good game. This one I'm really looking forward to. You got the Chargers and the Chiefs to start the week, and you have this one to end the week. And I think this is a great game. Definitely a game of the week candidate. So Minnesota played great last week. Justin Jefferson went off and showed why he's wide receiver 1. And Philadelphia, week 1, dropping 38 points, making it look easy. A.J. Brown having a career high in yards. This is going to be a great game, and I'm glad it's on Monday night. Looking at it like this, I'm going to actually go with Minnesota just because I think they have a slightly better defense. Justin Jefferson, I don't think Philly will have an answer for. This will definitely be a shootout, though. Philly's going to get their points and Minnesota's going to get their points, but I think in the end, Minnesota's going to be the team that gets the stop when it matters most. And I'm going to roll with the Vikings for this game. So, those are my predictions for this week's games. Let me know in the comments who you got, and we will see